Hello everyone and welcome to the interior of Ostia Castle. This is a long one. It's a good thing I have a road trip buddy to help me along the way, right Danny?
I haven't been called a road trip buddy in a while. I used to do a ton of road trips, though, when I was doing the Magic the Gathering circuit. Travel around the United States to play in Magic the Gathering tournaments.
Road trips
Very
are pretty
fun
fun.
times.
I like
Very
getting
fun
to travel
time.
around.
Yeah. We counting tiles?
Yep.
So, you've got an interesting squad for this, You've got an interesting squad for this. The first thing I noticed, and this makes me very happy, is you've deployed one of the central corners of the triangle attack.
I sure have.
You've also, you've only got one thief, so no thief triangle attack, unfortunately. We can't proc silencer with a triangle attack.
Sad.
I've always thought it would be so cool if there was a thief-based or assassin-based triangle attack that just automatically silencered, especially in FE7, where it's like, if you have 3 assassins, that means you've bought at least one from the fucking final secret shop, and you've dragged Matthew and Lugh all the way through the game.
That means you've trained up Matthew in general. Have you seen what Matthew's stats look like trained?
I have actually, because it was a video idea, but I abandoned it. I had Matthew grind to level 20 in chapter 11 by constantly stealing that one red gem, handing it over to Hector, who's too slow, letting the thief steal it, and then stealing the red gem again for like 10 experience a pop.
I think I just did that once.
Doing that. I got him to level 10. Or level 20, sorry, rather. So he's functionally capped because God, I'm not doing the fucking Sonya paralog ever in my fucking life.
Come on, Noah.
I've done it before. I'm never doing it again. It's horrible. But anyway, so he's functionally capped at that point. And I will say this, right? Like, he was, because it was draft run, so there were quite a few people I couldn't use. In fact, it was a draft run, and I think I just had the free units, so it was like him, Smellywood, Hector, and Marcus, and everyone else was not allowed.
Oh, that's...
Because in our draft rules, nice speed.
Yeah,
nice speed.
I would like more than one stat at a time, but we take whatever win we can get.
Wait, okay, so you lured the archer over to this side. Interesting. I usually avoid luring the archer because then he runs the long way, and Lilina can just move over and be safe. Like, because his first turn he moves to try to be able to attack Lilina, but then if you move her again, he just sort of gives up and keeps running.
Yeah, I like dealing with him right now, so I don't have to deal with him later down the line.
I guess that makes sense. I frequently forget to move Lilina on turn 1. I don't want to have to remember to deal with moving her on turns like 2 and 3, just in case. Like, because if he moves weirdly, then he might end up in a situation where he can, like, run to Lilina, like maybe heal AI gets turned on, and he's like, oh, I gotta go somewhere else, or I don't know.
I gotta heal.
I'm always just paranoid about that sort of thing. It's just like Thracia moving Nana. Like, oftentimes, I'll just end... Oh my god, the most terrifying portion of an Iron Man is turn 1 of chapter 5. Did I move Nana? Did I move Nana? Did I move Nana? Did I move Nana? Because, like, in vanilla play, if you forget to move her on turn 1, like, no big deal. It's one turn, right?
Yeah, just redo your turn 1.
But in an Iron Man, oh, you can't do that no more.
You only get one turn 1.
So one thing that interests me about the units you've chosen to deploy is you deployed Shanna.
Yes.
Now, obviously, we get an item that she wants to use in this map.
You got speed!
Holy shit. Holy shit.
Yes, you're mentioning.
I'm just flabbergasted. Our boy's doubling 2 AS enemies now.
Hey, look, this guy, 0 AS. Where's another one? This guy, 0 AS.
No, show me the 2 AS enemies, though. Show me who he doubles now, because he was already doubling 0 AS enemies, right? Because he got speed at least once.
So this one's 3 AS. This one is 0. I think they're all... Oh, he doubles this one now? No, he actually doesn't double this one.
Based. Oh, not based.
He
Look,
doubles,
he's
he
one
doubles
more
this one
proc
now.
from doubling. He's one more proc from doubling the 3A. That's guy.
He can double
And
this
there's
soldier
probably
now.
some people who don't double him now. Do the mages like not double him now?
Oh, that would be huge. 7. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not too fast, actually. 7 speed.
Yeah, so I
8
find that
speed.
mages are often not as fast as you expect them to be.
Yeah, these mages aren't that
especially
fast,
later. Especially later because once they start having like L fire and just getting weighed down, it's like FE7 Pegasus Knights.exe. Like, you know, the Steel Lance Pegasus Knights.
I think we're gonna take that. Oh my gosh.
No, we're not. Didn't you, prior to us starting recording, you were playing Baldur's Gate, and you said, if one more 70% misses, I'm gonna lose it. Well,
I sure did.
maybe you shouldn't have chosen to do Binding Blade. Yeah, I was gonna say, are you sure you want to fucking do that right there? This is why I don't lure that Archer, because now the Archer is also a problem.
But there's a plan in motion. There's a plan.
Yeah, I think we're boxing him in, right?
We're gonna kill with Trek.
Okay. And then the backup is box him in if Trek misses an 84.
Yes.
Trek would never. So here's a question though. Are we not worried that Shanna is going to die? Because this is not a specifically like difficult chapter, and Shanna would be very helpful for the next map.
I've thought about that. I actually thought really hard about leaving Shanna on the bench, but then I thought about this map with one less 7-move unit, and I kind of cried a bit. And I figured out of Shanna or my 2 paladins, Shanna was... Because I'm trying to think of what else Shanna does before Tate shows up.
She's quite good on 9, I think, as well. Get those villages.
Yeah, she's nice for flying up and like baiting some enemies up for the...
Yeah, well, there's like one archer up above, and if you can use like the torch staff to reveal him, I found like if you've trained her, which obviously, you know, there's a limit to the amount you can train her when we're not deploying her every map.
Yes.
But I find that like if she's, to use a term that I fucking hate, if she's properly trained, a properly trained Shanna.
Whatever that
I hate
means.
I hate fucking people referring to units as properly trained, because first off, it implies that there are multiple ways to train an enemy unit as opposed to like
You give them
killing
EXP.
enemies with them. Like you kill enemies with them, right? This isn't like Oblivion where you level up by like in different stats by doing different things, right?
Yes.
If your Walt doesn't gain strength, it's not because you didn't jump enough times with him. It's because the RNG said no. Granted, like, I think most people, when they say properly trained, they just meant fed an amount of EXP that I consider to be the correct amount.
They just
But then
mean
the other
level them
question
up.
is, like, what is the amount that you consider to be correct amount, right?
Mhm.
And I think this is where the debate comes in, where, like, the more I interact with people about Fire Emblem units, the more I'm stealing a phrase and a thought process from Tegan of Eat Your Greens. Did you not want to turn Astolfo's animations on too? Because I don't think you did.
Okay, I got him. I didn't do it initially, and then I jumped back in a second.
Okay. I thought you like turned Lilina's on twice. I think maybe is what my brain did.
Gotcha.
I got confused. But so I think that we are increasingly focused on what I will refer to as Oifi emblem, where when comparing units to each other, oftentimes what is pulled up is we ask Oifi for their stats at specific levels and compare them to each other, and sort of ignore the context that can't be... Like, Fire Emblem is a numbers-based game, right? But there is more to a unit's performance than simply the numbers side by side. I think a classic example from Binding Blade, since we're playing Binding Blade, is Rutger versus Fear, right?
Uh-huh.
They are units who, because of their growth rates and bases, at the same level, they will have remarkably close stats to each other, right?
Yes, if they're the same level.
That's the thing. They're rarely the same level, because Fear joins later and at a lower level. But this doesn't just, like, obviously availability sucks and the fact you need to train her sucks, but I think it goes beyond simply that, because you train her to be a second Rutger, right?
Yes.
At a time where Rutger is still good, but he is no longer blowing you out of the water. Like, one of the really nice things about Rutger, and I think one of the reasons why I consider him to be so good, is he has very good combat at a time where almost no one else on your team does. Like, Marcus has very good combat. Surprise, the Jagan has good combat. And Rutger has very good combat. They're basically the only two units I can reasonably see one-rounding enemies that aren't, like, a frail, slow mage, right?
Yes.
Or with an effective weapon. Like Armor Knights with a hammer or something, right? There's obviously, you know, matching someone up against a specific unit type, they can perform very well against them, and that's valuable too. Like, being able to kill flyers with a bow user is... I mean, even in that scenario, though, like, we deployed 3 bow users in Chapter 7, and none of them could one-shot the Wyverns, right? So, like, even in that scenario, Rutger runs at a time where good combat is incredibly rare, and there's a couple of pretty hard chapters coming up. Like, his join map, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but it can be tricky. The map immediately afterwards, though, I think is sort of overlooked in terms of hard chapters in Binding Blade.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Chapter 7.
The one and only.
And yes, those are only 3 chapters, but, like, those are 3 chapters where not only are they difficult on their own, but many of your units are not as competent as you would like them to be. Fear joins on the Western Isles arc, a arc that is generally considered to be fairly easy by Binding Blade standards. A lot of people say, like, use this time to train up training projects either that have, like, fallen behind, like maybe you neglected a Christmas Cavalier that you wanted to train, or people who joined in, like, the 7-8 stretch. Like, quite a few units join pretty underleveled. Sue, Ogier, Wendy, and I think that the intention was for the training, for 8X and the Western Isles to be sort of the training arc for them. I guess the chapter where Echidna joins is pretty hard, actually, but...
Yeah, that one can be pretty tricky.
Chapter 9, I don't find difficult, and then both variants of the non-village chapter. Like, if you go barter route, then you get the village chapter first, and then you get the barter map. And if you go Echidna route, you get the Gonzales chapter, and then the Echidna map. And I think that whatever version, like, whether you're going barter route and it's the version where Gonzo joins, or you're going Echidna route and it's the version where Echidna joins, I think that map is hard, but I think the alternate one generally isn't. Like, there's a ballista in the barter one. It's trickier than... I mean, there's a ballista in both of them, but it's a more annoying ballista in the barter route.
Yes.
The barter one is definitely trickier than the map where you get Gonzo and Echidna route, but I still think it's a good place to train people. It's not so tricky, right?
Yeah, they're pretty decent maps that you can train people in.
And even 12, like, you're on time pressure, and there is Archer Hallway, but, like, I find that training people in 12 is easy. And then on top of that, the Western Isles is where you get a bunch of units who are, like, pretty competent at base. Like, I mentioned Echidna and Barter, and I think they're both quite solid. And then you get Klein, you get Shin. Like, Shin is phenomenal. Klein is very good for a point in time, and then, like, stops being very good, but is still, you know, he's competing with Fear at that point. And even with Rutger, like, still trained, yeah, he's still good, but he's not blowing everyone out of the water. Like, he's not the only person one-rounding anymore.
Yeah, because usually you can have like a promoted mage by that point. You'll have
Yeah,
one of your
too.
calves promoted.
Yeah, and like either Lugh or Lilina promoted is very. I'm for some reason I don't use the anima mages that much in Binding Blade. I don't know why. Because like I recognize that they are quite good for several reasons. Like fire is obviously a very good tome. You should heal. Yeah, I was gonna say you should heal rather than attack.
It would also be really nice to have a way to go through this right now.
Yeah, that too. Like, you know, armor knights exist. Wait, steal the chest key.
Oh, that's true.
Like, I know it's not a huge deal, but anytime we can not deploy a thief,
Is a good.
and because like we might not have a thief to deploy, right?
Yes.
Like generally, I think if you're stealing a chest key, it kind of feels like, why am I doing this? Like I have a thief and this doesn't sell for that much money. I think here we actually want to steal all the stealables as much as we can. And like, what else is Astolfo doing this map?
True.
But yeah, either promoted Lugh or Lilina. Ooh, he got speed and strength.
Strength and speed. That's huge.
Wait. Trek is goated now.
I mean, he's level 9 now. He joins at like level 3.
I missed that whole training arc. I erased it from my brain, it would seem.
It was not very memorable.
No, I remember I remember the fighters more than anything. I remember the various lengths that the fighters went to, and then one fighter made the ultimate sacrifice.
Yep.
Well, I guess that wasn't Chapter 7, but still, I remember a lot of fighter combat.
I must be weird because I really like the GBA fighters. They are not very good, but I kind of like using them for some reason.
This is why you need to play ROM hacks, because fighter to warrior tends to be pretty solid in ROM hacks. Granted, I've only played like a small smattering of ROM hacks, and not all of them are the case. Like, I don't think there's any good fighters in The Last Promise, for example, but there's warrior promo gains are very good in Vision Quest, so most of the fighters, whether they're bow or axe fighters, tend to be pretty good in Vision Quest. Code of the Burger King has a pre-promoted warrior that I just got that his stats look pretty amazing. There is a pre-promoted warrior who's like the Goto of TLP, who's pretty cool.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, I think Fighter Warrior is a very fun class. I love their crit animations, and I think they tend to be pretty solid in offensive ROM hacks, just because they hit hard.
Yes. Just do big damage.
Well, Geats is a good warrior. Geats and Barter I like FE6 Barter.
Yeah.
I
I
don't like FE7 Barter. He's bad.
I say I like GBA fighters. I don't like. Oh wow, that's nice.
She got strength and speed too. Everyone is leveling how we want them to.
Which means all of them are dying this map.
They can't. The wheel can't take everyone from us.
Oh, I am playing really slow. Oh my gosh. I'm way behind where I usually am at this point.
I kind of want to make a meme rebalance, like in quotes, rebalance of Binding Blade, because you know how everyone and their mother has tried to make like a Binding Blade rebalance,
yes,
and the only one that I think is especially worth playing is Project Ember.
Because everyone knows how to balance a Fire Emblem game.
Well, everyone knows like what units they like and therefore should be buffed. I think is the thing. But I want to make a meme rebalance, and I can't think like none of them would actually be good. None of the changes would actually be good and improve the balance, but they would all be, to my mind, funny.
But it would be funny, and that's what matters.
Can't think of too many, but my favorite that I've thought of is change the broken wall in Barth, Ogier, and Wendy's thing to just be a solid wall. There's still blue units. You can technically try to keep them alive.
But it's not
the
happening.
Red units. But Wendy and Ogier do not have good odds. And honestly, I don't like Barth's chances either in that scenario.
No, that is they are not making it out of that one.
I do really like what Project Ember does. Like, I know Project Ember is a controversial rebalance. I'm a fan of it, but I also don't think... Some people say it's like a replacement for FE6, and I disagree. I think it's just a different way to play, and it's fun. But I like what it does with them, like, starting on the map on turn 1 and sort of fighting in that area on their own, like, already ready to fight.
And
But also competent enough to do so.
And they have their own little, like, because don't they add a door right here or something? And the idea is you go down here to
yeah, I think so, yeah. So then they're sort of defending on that front. I just like when Fire Emblem has you fighting on 2 fronts, whether it be through deployment slots or people who join in the map in a specific place. My preference is the latter, where, like, there is a group that is... Because it allows the sort of, it allows you to give the early game design to the mid game, right? Because one of the things that makes early game usually more fun and difficult than mid to late game is you can more tightly design encounters because you know exactly who's going to be available, right? Like, okay, I can make this fight in such a way that I know they have 2 axe users, 1 healer, 1 cavalier, and an armor knight, right? And then I know what roles they have, who can use what weapons, and design things in such a way that, like, it's challenging for this group, but it's not impossible.
Yes, you can very tightly design a difficulty around it.
It's much harder to do that later on. Like, you can do some stuff to help with that. For example, like, they have no flyers, or they only have 1 flyer, and I can design a map that takes advantage of that. But at a certain point, you either, like, just make the cast incredibly small, which is then punishing for permadeath runs like Iron Man's, or you allow the design space to be in such a way that you kind of just don't know what tools they have. What are you doing?
That.
Oh, that. Okay.
I accidentally moved the steel sword over.
I was very confused.
Don't worry, I actually sat there and stared at it for a sec, trying to figure out what was wrong with the picture.
Wait, why'd you move the armor slayer? You can't use it.
Because OJ's gonna vibe in the back for a sec.
Hold on. Barth? What? No, this is not FE8. I was thinking, okay, I thought I figured out your plan for the Nightcrest, because I was like, Barth with a sword? But then I remembered, that's only FE8 and also some hack ROMs.
I actually really do wish he could use swords, though.
Yeah, you'll have to forgive me if I suggest strategies that sound stupid. I was up very late last night playing a lot of Vision Quest. So there's things that, like, for example, finding shove strats. If I suggest a substrat at some point, it's because GBA sprites shoving is, like, etched into my mind right now. And then generals get swords on promo. Well, generals get the full weapon triangle on promo. Which I think is a good choice, personally. I like them having triangle control, because it sort of fits the defensive profile of being able to leverage weapon triangle to be... like, if yours meant to be a wall, you should be able to equip whatever weapon you want. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. In fact, I don't even mind, like... I like it when generals have high strength as well, so they're not just, like, do-nothings. But if I had to choose, I think I would choose a low-strength general with weapon triangle, if anything, so the weapon then, like, more emphasizes... like, that build for a general emphasizes using weapon triangle to reduce damage. Because one thing with playing, like, harder ROM hacks, I've found myself taking advantage of more is, like, looking at a scenario and being like, if I can get weapon triangle or avoid weapon triangle disadvantage, it saves me, like, 4 or 5 points of damage, and that can sometimes be the difference between life and death in, like, games or hacks with threatening enemies.
Every little bit counts. Go get them, boars.
Ouch.
I just needed someone to take all 3 of these enemies.
I mean, defensive beast boars here
unironically
to show off Arbor Knights.
Yeah, unironically using boars because no one else in my army was beefy enough to eat all 3 of these hits.
Makes sense.
It's funny how that's like what armor is supposed to be used for.
Yeah, I think that's part of why, like, I know people don't like that they have low skill because it means they often miss, but I think the idea is that, like, and this might be better communicated through low strength, but then people would hate them even more, but I think the idea is that you put them in a situation where, like, if they hit, it's nice, but if they miss, it's not world-ending.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Armor Knights are, like, a really interesting unit that I think most vanilla game, like, not unit, but, like, class, that I think most vanilla games, like, fail to properly balance. I really think that they should not have a movement penalty, and I think that there are more interesting ways to, quote-unquote, balance them without completely stripping them of a use. And I don't think balance is even necessarily the right word, because it's a single-player game. I don't think the classes need to be balanced. Like, I hear people talk about nerfing wyverns. I think the secret nerf to wyvern is just don't allow everyone to reclass into wyvern. Right? Like, Milady and Zeus are the only wyverns in Binding Blade, and they're both quite solid. Sorry, Zeus haters, but, like, he's not as good as Milady, but he's still solid. He's got flaws, but he's still solid.
I love the idea that wyverns are these terrifying kings of the skies that you don't want to come up. Dorothy, you just had a really good level up.
I mean, yeah, she used all of her luck for this map.
Okay, well, my train of thought.
You burned every single good RN. You burned every single good RN already. Oh my god, I was playing last night and I fumbled on my keyboard and I accidentally did like an RN burn, and then someone missed, and I was like, that was the RN burn's fault.
I do that too.
Because, like, for those who don't know, you can burn RNs by, there's a method called arrow dancing, where basically, I think Boris can demonstrate now, if you've got, like, you see those corners? See how it's, like, choosing how to go to the square differently, because there's 2 different paths that he can take for equal number of movement. That burns an RN, depending on, like, choosing which path the arrow will go burns an RN. And so if you are, it's really only relevant for, like, it's most relevant for, like, rigged LTCs and stuff, or speedruns where they memorize the RN strings. But I also think if you want to... Where everyone is getting speed, holy shit! You have the fastest army out there. Sanic the Hedgehog would be jealous.
Still.
Do you think speed should contribute to hit? Because when I was a kid, I thought it did, like, for the longest time.
I think it would kind of make sense, but I think speed is already such a coveted stat that I think making it increase hit as well would... like, make it even more, like, desired as a stat that you would
Well, what you do is you make it increase hit, but then you don't make it affect AS. For maximum confusion, skill now affects AS.
Look at that, we're using Noah's niche.
No, I think it makes sense. I think the reason that I had that association is because the high skill units and high speed units tend to overlap, like Swordmaster Myrmidon type deals. Which sort of brings me back to balancing Armor Knights, right? I think in most games, Swordmaster Myrmidons are not especially good. But they're not, as a whole, pretty... Oh my god! Wait, now he can double 3 AS enemies!
Look at him.
He can double that soldier that we were talking about earlier.
He could already double that one. Oh, he could already double that one.
There's some, okay? There's some. Who has more... I want to see. Check his strength. He has 8 strength. Can I take a look at Birth?
Absolutely. Okay, 10 strength. But more speed.
Yeah, I wonder. So I'm assuming the reason Boris is deployed right now is for triangle attack stuff, right?
Yes, and I don't really have anyone else to deploy.
Are you... I know we're rolling the wheel, like, at the end, obviously.
I'm
Are you
going back
willing to roll the wheel before you use the Night Crest, so that if Boars doesn't die, you can use it on him?
That's what I keep
Because
going
I'm
back
assuming
and
it's
forth
going to
on.
one of these Cavaliers, but I think it would be very funny to have a general
So
triangle attack.
the plan was actually to give it to Barth.
Oh my god, I was right, but like for the wrong reason.
The idea was I was going to give Barth at least 1 level, and I was going to insta-promote him. And I was going to promote him, throw him on the bench, and he was just going to be a card in my pocket that I could play whenever I feel like I need. Like a decent survival unit. But I don't know. Like it all comes down to
What's Boris' defense right now?
like 2 less than Barth's.
I'm gonna
Less
ask
Barths.
for general promotion bonus. 1 less? And he's not getting doubled by some people now. Like, there's definitely some classes of enemies that are not gonna
Yes.
double him that would double Barth, right?
I think with promo
Aside
items,
from the fact that Barth needs a level, I think he might actually make us like if we're not. I assumed that the Cavs were here. Like the reason we deployed 2 Cavs was so that whoever didn't, like if one died, the other one would promote. But if we're already on the general train,
this right here is basically
Can
what those
we
cats
do,
were promoted
like-
were deployed for.
okay, that also makes sense. But I sort of thought you might want to keep one alive.
Yeah.
I guess you do keep one alive no matter what in this scenario, though. I'm gonna ask Oifi speed bonuses for promotion.
I think it's pretty crazy.
So he gets 3 speed,
God, that's
which
so
would put him at
fast.
what, 10?
Ooh, that's pretty good.
That's quite a few enemies you can stop. Like, not every enemy, obviously. But there's quite a few enemies you can stop from doubling you. They need 14 AS to double you. Because obviously you can get weighed down by some stuff, right? Boars has con, but not, like, infinite. Actually, 14. He's
He-
not even weighed down by steel lances, is he?
No, I don't
he
think
gets
he loses
axes,
speed from
though, so he
anything.
could get weighed down by axes, potentially.
Yeah.
Steel axe, maybe?
Steel
What's
Axe is
the-
15, so he's not getting weighed down by a Steel Axe on
he gets more
promo.
con from promotion. Yeah, so fuck, they would have to be a 14 AS enemy to even double him.
Yeah.
I think that, and he has more HP too. So like,
All right.
the 1 point of
Wow.
defense I do not think is like as huge. With like, yes, obviously it's only 5 points of HP. Defense is more important than HP, but like, not getting doubled is more important than defense. I think that Armor Knights who are in that sweet spot of not being doubled, like I don't think Armor Knights need to double. It's nice when they do double slower enemies like soldiers, but I think the big thing is not getting doubled.
Yes. That's what speed on an Armor Knight is for. Just so
I
you
think we're
don't get
promoting
doubled.
boars.
I think
we're
so.
promoting boars.
I think promo items are too valuable of a resource to like promote and then spin. So I think if Boars lives the wheel, then we're promoting Boars. Although,
Oh my god, Boars Gaming.
Because
He
I
also
was,
has more skill, right? Like he'll hit things. He can actually hit
yeah.
things with axes.
he has 4 more hit than Barth right now, so that's kind of sick.
What's Barth's luck?
Ooh, that's right. He also has.
Like, I
Four
know
more
that's a
hit.
nothing stat, but it means he won't get crit
That's true.
as often. Yeah, and also I guess the tiny bit of hit it gives, but like I mostly meant because like if you are trying to tank, being able to just be like, it is unlikely this person eats like a random 5% crit or something.
Yes. You need to not get crit by things.
Like I think having serviceable enough luck is very good for your frontline unit. I can't believe what this run has come to.
I know,
Already.
me neither. I am questioning things.
I want to see just how far ahead he is.
I don't really know how I'm
Boars
going to tackle this
10.
next hallway. I forgot this next hallway is kind of scary.
In fairness, he's actually very close to average speed. A level 10 Boars has 6.6 speed on average.
Wow.
So he's not even speed blessed. Like, because 6.6, we don't have fractions in Fire Emblem, so it means that, like,
Uh-oh.
There's a higher chance of him having 7 than 6 speed. Oh, it's time for Sarah.
Well, here comes these guys. Ugh, stop
Ooh.
missing.
Do you think that Kath is Sarah's child?
I've heard
Like their
back and
boss
forth
theme
on
is passed
that.
down through the genetics?
I think it's a funny little theory. I don't really put any stock into it.
I like the idea that the theme music is actually tied to genetics. I think it is funny.
This thunder mage.
It also could justify. It also could justify. And this didn't happen in Project Ember, but if they wanted to make an update that would be funny, they could give her like stabs on promotion, make her like a, what are they called, trickster?
Oh yeah, that'd be a pretty funny idea.
Because she's got Sarah blood in her, major Sarah blood.
Sarah
I also
blood.
don't know how you're going to tackle this hallway,
I
TBH.
do not know.
Which is why I'm talking about Sarah rather than giving you suggestions.
No, you go ahead. Please keep filling the space, because I don't know what I'm about to fill the space with.
Yeah, that is the awkward thing that that comes up. Yeah, don't even bother giving him a thing that can double, because he's not.
Sick.
Although he did hit, which is pretty sick.
Womp womp, don't care. I think all the rest of this I can manage. It's this mage I don't know how I'm dealing with. Because I can't stand here, or else I get pelted by this mage too.
How much AS does that mage have?
8. So they don't double my armors aside from Wendy, but that's because everyone doubles Wendy. Staffer's all the way over here, so I guess I could mend up Boars and then put him here.
Because, like, there is the potential to just, like... I know we're on a timer because of those thieves.
I do have a couple turns because they actually have to get here to the chest. One of them's going to open Lalena's door.
Yeah, one of them's going to break her out of prison. Although then Lalena's got to start moving.
Yeah, then she has to start moving this way towards us.
Can Lalina, like, potentially sort of body block? No, she can't get to the door.
Yeah.
Can she? Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it'd be cool if she could kind of body block that treasure room, but she can't really.
Okay, so Boars is going, like, on one of these tiles, which means I can put, like, Trek here to try to kill this archer.
Our best unit, Boars.
And then Clarion's gonna mend up Boars.
Makes sense. And then he can take the mage, right? Like, did we do that math?
I know he doesn't get doubled by the mage, but the mage does 15 on his 1 res, so
That's already.
it survives.
That's quite a bit. Does Trek survive?
Oh, he also has like 1 res. Oh, he has 0 res.
Yeah, he's got less resistance
15. That
than
puts
our
you down
armor
to
knight.
12 HP. Oh boy. Yeah, you're toasted if you get hit by 2 things. Gosh, wow.
And I mean, like,
Armor's
Binding
so
Blade,
strong.
but they will hit. They will hit at some point.
Yep.
Can we kill that mage? Like,
Technically,
what's the hit rates that we have?
Technically, we can. But I don't think I like it.
Does Boris get doubled if he rescues by the mage?
Yes. Because he'll go down to 3 speed versus
Barrier
their
stuff would have been
5.
super. Barrier stuff would have been super hype. Do you have pure water?
Shoot, why don't I have the barrier staff on someone? I knew I forgot something. Do
you have pure water? Because Boris hasn't acted this turn.
But it can't rescue and pure water the same turn. Unless I like rescue.
No, but you could like take give maybe
Oh,
because you've got the mounted units available.
I could take and use. I do have pure water, right? Oh, I don't think you could buy pure water yet, or else I know I would have bought pure water.
Yeah, I think it's pretty late. I think it's pretty late. It's weird.
Yeah, because
I thought it was in a. I thought it was in a house or something.
I have barrier. I just didn't put it on someone for some reason. I think they're steel lances. They have 71 hit before void, which is like 50 hit.
You're at weapon triangle disadvantage. You're gonna want to switch him over.
Yeah, I'm gonna trade him over. I think we just kind of wall right here. Unless... Does Noah have better survivability? No.
What does...
They're basically the same survivability.
So you could go for the crit and then rescue drop him out with your 2 mounts?
Yeah.
Like, if he crits or hits twice, that solves a lot for us. And even if he hits twice and takes the counter, you can rescue him out from that. Because the other mage is the big problem, right?
Yeah, this other mage is really annoying. If this other mage wasn't here, I could probably work a little bit better. But I think we just go for this and see what happens.
Oh, no. Okay, he could still hit. He could still hit. He could still hit again.